something I heard which I didn't like, which is this, unless you're an anti-racist, you're a racist, which reminded me of Netanyahu, not the most credible of the all world leaders. Unless you're a friend of Israel, you're an enemy of Israel.
Right.
No, 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 no. I'm not woke. I know nothing. I've experienced relative to everyone here, nothing. And so that's not, I'm an anti-racist, I'm a racist, I'm a this. We're all bloody racists. We all have the potential to be horrible human beings. All of us, 8 billion people, can be horrible. Humanity is horrible every single day. It's not polarity. It's something else. It's something else. And it's what? It's doing the work, isn't it? Doing the work, reading the books, having a chat, doing this. And you and I are not struggling. I don't feel I'm struggling now. I am the unashamed beneficiary of white privilege. I was ill when I was a child. I had access to great medical people and services. It saved my life and I never paid a penny. I finished university with a profit, not a debt. Yes, fantastic. I'm not freaking out. I'm not apologizing about it either. But I mean, it's fantastic. I get it. Right now, you're a freelancer. I'm a freelancer. My photograph, this is more shameful, but I move with it, is of a white middle-class European descendant man carrying too much weight around his stomach area. I get chosen over other people. My name, Matthew Hill, is relatively simple. I get chosen over other people. Yeah, guilty, guilty, guilty. I mean, this is a more problematic area. So I get that money. It goes into my bank account, not someone else's. That's more complicated. That's where I really do need to pay back and to pay it forward and to do something else. And so this is part of my debt repayment. But that's more problematic. That is tricky. That is tricky.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's part of it, is that the people are threatened by the words reparation, things like this, which are always pushed back as like, why are we paying for the sins of our fathers and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I find that to me, this is just why I do what I do. I'm curious. I've had the benefit of traveling a lot, and I've had the benefit of learning from a lot of wonderful people, and they just happen to be people that have experienced this trauma and do continue to experience this trauma every day. And it's kind of really woken me up and said, okay, so I'm willing to admit it. I don't feel guilty for it. I'm just saying it because I could sit in a corner and feel guilty. That's fine. That'd be the easy way out. I like to challenge myself first. If I don't challenge myself first, then how can I challenge other people? But that does make people uncomfortable. And I'm certainly not going to get it right.
And again, with your 18 minutes of amazing, you were really throwing a bit of a very challenging frisbee out to people. And they had some tough thoughts and feelings. And that is okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. It's life is a complicated journey, and we should confront it and because really at the other side of it, and I mentioned this actually during that thing, it was the freedom that it's given me, the freedom that again, it's let's bring it into an economic sense. It's a profit margin that I have now allowed myself and invested in myself that gives me the freedom to not be strangled by the fear of having friends and people in my sphere that are different to me and look like me, pray differently, and all that kind of stuff. And that really is freeing. I don't know how else to explain it. Anyway, that was just
And I'll just add one thing. So I've got a generation. I've got a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, or 23-year-old now, lads who've been brought up in London, which probably is the most multicultural place on earth. Not necessarily the most inclusive, not equal, not equitable, but certainly diverse in terms of the statistics. They challenge me on my lazy language or my knee-jerk programmed rude responses. And that's incredibly good for me. And so I want to be proud. I had a bit of a run through of some of the questions and I said, okay, get a cricket analogy, throw me a couple of bouncers, see how I do. And it was really good. You could just see Barnaby's, my eldest, face going, okay, you've done a bit of homework. You've done a bit of homework. And that's okay. That's it. I mean, why not just reflect so your kids are prouder of you? I mean, it's the whole thing, isn't it? It's gone on for too long. It's gone on for too long, and it's not over tomorrow. In the next 20 years, there are real things that could happen to make a difference. To be honest, when there's a school shooting, there is a white policeman on a person of color, and it all ends tragically. There is a bit of, well, of course. I mean, I'm being very cynical. I'm very distant here. Well, of course there is. I mean, that's where I'm going. It's from the structural perspective. What if in 20 years there was representation on the media? Netflix are doing a fantastic job. The BBC have started to step up and doing a fantastic job. When there's representation on the media, when there's a representation in teaching and stories and literature, then we are normalizing the other, we're bringing in the other, we're evening up the other, so the other is less culturally threatening, less culturally different. When we're getting rid of this missionary, savage nonsense, when we're being honest about the economic model and just why people are being oppressed, or the political model, why are minorities continuing to be blamed for the incompetence of power when it's not that at all? When we get past that, then something more beautiful could happen. But on a daily basis, we can all do something. We can monitor our reactions. We can monitor our language. And I think where you stand up, you said you're going to, what was it? What, grog, gob, bob? What was your Australian rude word for people who are naughty?
I don't know. Which one did I use?
You're a flob, a grob, a bob. It was a rude word in Australian.
Yes, and that was one of the things I was challenged on, is using rude words, and I probably agree with that, but I don't remember. But there's so many bad words in Australian. Probably directed it at my kin.